Hey everybody, so I just arrived in San Jose right now, and I can already tell you that it kind of doesn't feel as friendly. I've noticed that when I came in, it just seems like a more serious place. Like it's a big commuter city almost. People aren't really ready to take the time to get invested in each other, only because I'm sure that they're probably only here for a few seconds. They're just driving through. But yeah, it's just a more serious vibe over here. It's not very social friendly, crunchy granola-y as Santa Rosa. But I mean, for a city as famous, I'm sure it has a lot to offer. So we're gonna go check that out. I'm also going to do a video and kind of show you exactly how I get ready for road trips and when I leave, and what I carry with me and how much money it costs. I'm also going to let you know how much cash to carry, what you'll need when you go on your trip, how I prepared for my trip, and different options and avenues that you have for sleeping or even mapping out your trip. There's plenty of resources out there, so I'll let you know how you can go about setting up your own runaway travel. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Later. Hey everybody, so I'm here in San Jose, and before I start viewing the city or looking around, I just want to go over with you some good ideas for preparing for your road trip, and to let you know a little bit about what I've packed and how I've prepared. So if you're road tripping and you're going to be staying in your car, I really highly recommend that you talk to the local police stations first. They all have code enforcement people that you can talk to, or you can ask to speak to an investigator, police officer, or if you happen to see a police officer on the road or in the parking lot or anywhere, just stop them and ask them. They'll let you know. Some cities do have city ordinances against sleeping in your parking lot. A couple of things, resources for you to plan a road trip. So any city police department website, that's always a good idea. Please make sure you look into it before you head out and decide that you're going to sleep in parking lots. And like I said, when it comes to sleeping and staying places, check out couchsurfers.org, or if you have any apps or social networking, just post on there, looking for a safe place to stay for the night. Make sure you check into the people. But if you're not that adventurous, I would recommend that you look into hostels. Now, as far as hostels go, Northern California doesn't really have any. Sacramento has one, but you're more likely to find a good hostel if it's Sacramento, Monterey, and anything south of that. There are plenty of hostels everywhere. You can also camp in campgrounds, which are usually just outside of town, and they're like $10 a night. You just pitch up your tent, or you can sleep in your car in the campground. That's always an option. And usually if you're staying in a campground, they'll have a shower. Now, if you're sleeping in your car and you need a hot shower in the morning, head to a gym. You usually have a free day pass. But if they don't have a free day pass, then your best option is to just purchase a day pass. It's usually like $10 and it's good for the entire day. So what you could do is shower in the morning, go out, spend your day, explore, do whatever you need to do, and then come back at night before the establishment closes and take a shower and prepare for the next day. Then you got 2 days in there right there. I packed a little shower bag, and it has 2 packages of hand warmers in it. I have some Tylenol or Advil, any of those like pain medications. I also have a small first aid kit. I have a travel size lint roller. I also have in there some compostable wipes. So like they're wet wipes. I carry the Coleman Bio wipes. They're biodegradable, and they're the ones that I trust. And they're more earth friendly than other brands, but you can look into that. I mean, I'm sure that there are other brands that are just as good, if not better. But for me, I use the Coleman ones. I like those. I feel like they're tested, they're reliable. I trust them. I always carry a package of Wet Ones hand wipes. You never know when you're gonna make a mess in your car or when you're eating. I also have some shoe shine polish, but that's only because on this trip I'm also looking to see if I can find a new place to live and find a job, so that's always good to have. I have interview clothes and interview shoes and polish for those shoes. If you're traveling to a new area that's a few hours outside of where you normally go visit or where you live, I highly recommend that you bring Claritin D or some kind of Benadryl or allergy medication if you do have allergies. I can tell you right now that I'm kind of suffering from a sinus infection because of allergies, and it's not fun, and I really wish that I had brought Claritin and I completely forgot. Anything that has to do with sanitation, you want to have on hand. I also have a bottle of, hand sanitizer just in case. I always keep that around, and I always try to use it because when you're in a new area, you're exposed to, so many different people, so many different things, environments. It's always good to have that on you just to make sure that you are prepared in the battle against germs and sickness. You don't want to end up with a sinus infection. There's some good information right there. I also went on roadtrippers.com. That's a very good website. It's a website I use to plan my road trip, and it it allows you to tailor the trip to specific things that you're interested in or things that you may be interested in. It'll also give you ideas, and you also have access to other people's road trip maps, so you can see if anybody else took a similar trip or a similar drive, and if so, where they went, and maybe you'll find a road trip that is something that you would enjoy taking, and somebody's already done the work for you. So there it is. You can actually, if you have an iPhone, you can get the app on your iPhone, and it'll lead you around, and it's great. It's a brilliant app. There is another app, and it's called Big Truck Stops. And Big Truck Stops basically shows you all the major truck stops that have, laundry, showers, place to sleep, restaurants, anything like that. And it only gives you the major gas stations and tells you exactly where they are, the criteria that you've set. So that's always a good option. Look into it. As far as hostels go, when you stay in a hostel, I would recommend Hosteling International. I use Hosteling International by myself, and it was actually recommended to me by a friend, and I'm really glad that he gave me that info. Hosteling International, to be a part of their organization, you actually have to have and maintain a set of standards that is set by that organization. And these include standards such as sanitation, safety, overall guest service, and it provides a really nice and reliable place to stay for the night. And sometimes, depending on where you go or where you're at, some hostels do have curfews, so you do have to be in by a certain time, and you do have to check in at a certain time. But you can make reservations just like you would any hotel. It's usually $25 a night. Now, you can go into some different hostels that the price goes up depending on what you're looking for. If you want to stay in just a regular room, share it with 10 other people, it's not guaranteed that there'll be 10 other people in the room. They just have 10 beds. It's usually about $20 to $25, and if you want a private room with your own private bath, that usually is in the range of $40 to $45. Or if you just want your own private room but you don't mind sharing a bathroom with everybody else, those rooms range from $30 to $35. So look into it. Those are a few resources for you. Another thing that I did was on Road Trippers, they actually tell you how many miles you're going and how much gas to prepare yourself with. Now for me, because I'm going to be traveling to so many different areas within the cities that I've chosen, I've actually doubled my gas allowance. So when you go on Road Trippers, a safe bet is look at the gas consumption meter and then double up whatever it tells you you should save for gas. That's always a really safe bet. For those of you who are traveling during extreme weather like in the summer or maybe in the winter, make sure that your car is completely prepared for it. You don't want to go out there in the winter with a battery that needs to be changed or something else wrong when that could have been taken care of before the road trip happened. Just make sure your car is up to par. You don't ever want to get stuck somewhere where you're not familiar. And if you do end up getting stuck somewhere, make sure that you've also saved or have enough backup funds just in case something bad happens. There's always a chance, and you don't want to risk it, especially if you need to be back home soon. If you do happen to get stuck in a parking lot or your car dies in a parking lot, just talk to the business and make sure you keep in contact with the police department and you let them know, my car is here, it's stuck here. right now I can't move it, but I should be able to move it in a couple days, and they're usually more than willing to work with you. As far as parking lots go, or sleeping in your car, for those cities that are travel friendly, I really recommend staying in Walmart parking lots. As most of you know, and for those of you who do not, Walmart allows you to sleep in their lot overnight. Anybody who's traveling, or families or RVs, you could sleep in their parking lot. They don't care, just park in the back. Make sure you leave enough space for the people that are shopping. You don't want to be rude and take up space. Try to take up as little space as possible and try to be as courteous as possible. Please don't party in the parking lots. Please, if you're with your friends, don't, do any bad behavior. You're just making the rest of us travelers look bad. So always be courteous, be kind, and always make sure that you make the businesses aware that you are staying in their parking lot. When you're in the city, don't be afraid to approach people. I know a lot of times when you're out and about and you're kind of like curious where to go, what to see, a lot of people are really hesitant to talk to people that they don't know. And I encourage you, please, find somebody, find anybody, talk to them on the street, ask them if they know of any place they typically go, any place they like to see. You can also stop in restaurants. Usually people who work in restaurants tend to be foodies, and so they happen to know like local hotspots and restaurants that you might be interested in, and they seem to have a good knowledge of the area, especially if they're by a highway, because they probably get a lot of passersby or commuters, so they tend to have a good knowledge of where to go and what directions to give. So always make sure that you explore those options. You never want to be caught or stuck in some place and not know how to get out or know what to do. I noticed that locals tend to be more cynical about their surroundings. They're not as excited. They tend to take their areas for granted. Not all of them, but a lot. Try to dig a little bit. Ask, where's a favorite place they used to go when they were kids, or like a fond memory they have of a certain area, or maybe something that you hear a lot of people asking about or asking for, or asking directions to. That's always a good option. But never be afraid and never be hesitant. And when you talk to people or approach people, make sure you're always really nice, courteous, and try not to bother them when they're in the middle of something. If you're really worried about staying in places at night, ask people. They'll tell you where the nice areas are and where the areas they recommend you stay away from. A lot of people are really helpful that way. They don't want to see you wind up in a bad situation, and most people are willing to look out for others. So always ask. Never be afraid to approach people. Oh, and another thing, this trip that's happening right now, I started out on probably around 500. I kept it low. I made sure that I always had enough, just in case of emergencies. So I started out on 500, and considering that I'm doing this over a month's time, I don't think that's bad. It's 500 for 2 weeks. You can do 100 in a week if you really, really wanted to. But I kinda love food, and I have a lot of friends to, buy presents for. It is around the holiday season, so I'm spending a little bit extra, but as far as money goes, they're not expensive trips. These are places that are within reach. Now, a lot of people told me when I first came out here that they thought it was dangerous that I was taking a road trip and going out and trying to explore different areas, and they didn't want me to wind up in an area that I'm unfamiliar with and it end up being a bad area, something bad happened to me. And all I have to say to that is do your research. Go to the city's police department website. They usually can tell you, actually they have maps of crimes reported throughout the area, so you can see the most crime-riddled area. The only time you ever hear about something bad happening is if they die, and you hear it in the news. But usually, people are doing this all year round, all day, every day, and no one ever gets to hear about the people who have a successful road trip or enjoy their time road tripping. The media is filled with the doomsday message, so don't let that influence your decision on road tripping. For the most part, everything's safe, people are friendly, and I would argue that 90% of the people that you run into aren't meaning to do you any harm. In fact, they're more than willing to help you out. So that's the end of the video. So get out there and explore. Nothing's out of your reach. The only person that's stopping you from making this trip and starting your own adventure is you. anybody can be a runaway traveler, so get out there and explore. And I'll see you guys later.